Alright, hello citizens of the Nigelverse. It's Nigel here once again, and this is gonna be another wrestling review. In the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia on Saturday, a monarchy reigned supreme, but who walked out king and queen of the ring, as well as who walked out champion? Let's find out. I'm of course talking about king and queen of the ring, from this past Saturday. The first of two of our Memorial Day Wrestling weekend reviews. It was for the events that happened. Obviously, Double or Nothing is going to be tomorrow, and quite a bit to talk about there. But as for this one, for starters, as always, I'm not a professional wrestling reviewer, analyst, or anything like that. Just a man who enjoys a good time, and I would say I had a pretty decent time for the most part with this one. And so, without further ado, let's get right into it. If you've seen these reviews before, you kind of know how this works. If you haven't, I'm going to be talking about what I like and dislike about each match, and I'm going to go match by match. So starting first the preliminary. He's and also something I can't believe I haven't addressed up until this point. Pretty much the logo, very similar to the Black Panther logo. Now it makes sense, Black Panther, of course, the king of Wakanda, now queen because Shuri's taken T'Challa's place, but at the same time, it fits. It looks cool, but damn, but man, they were shameless with it. But it's happened before, and I'm sure it won't happen again. Just don't let Disney find out, because they will take WWE to task for that. But nevertheless, getting into the card proper, obviously they made some change up so it didn't look 100% the same. But if anything, like I said, kind of makes sense. And if you're gonna copy anything, at least they're copying some type of royalty. I don't necessarily want to say copying, although I don't know. So I'll leave it there. But nevertheless, getting into the show proper, the first match actually technically was on the pre-show, so I didn't watch it, so I missed it. Obviously, that being that Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. He'll successfully defended the W Women's Tag Team Championships against Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. But one thing I didn't miss though is that cool double team maneuver, the code breaker into the German from Bianca and Jade. Hey, and to see them kind of gelling as a tag team is pretty cool. It's gonna make it even sadder when the breakup happens. But nevertheless, next up, getting into the show proper, for starters, for the Women's World Championship. Liv Morgan sought to conclude her revenge tour against Becky Lynch. And was she successful? Well, yes. Morgan and Becky, some decent action there, but the main story is what happened towards the end. Dominic flew all the way to Saudi Arabia just to ensure that Liv Morgan does not walk out with the Women's World Championship, aka Mommy's title. Man, what is it with WWE superstars flying across the world just to cost somebody the championship? Except, unlike AJ Styles, Dom was unsuccessful while trying to slide the chair to Becky. Becky, rejecting the chair, but Liv was not above that at using the chair, planting Becky on the chair in order to pick up the win. Obviously, planting around the chair behind the referee's back, but picking up the win. So, Dominic, you done screwed. You done messed up now, boy. Hey, so Liv Morgan is now the Women's World Champion, and they're gonna rematch tonight on Raw for. For the Women's World Championship. In fact, it's going to be a steel cage match, and the match was announced right after, or much later into the show. So Liv Morgan, the new champion. So pretty decent actions, pretty decent back and forth between the two, and Liv Morgan walked out champion. So congrats to her. I imagine Liv's probably not losing this match either. We'll have to see if where the story evolves with her and Dominic. But Dom, I'm kind of in the doghouse now, at least with the Judgment Day. But nevertheless, that's Liv, new champion, and Becky, he of course upset afterwards, which led to this rematch here. But next up, for the Intercontinental Championship, Sami Zayn sought to defend and against both Chad Gable and the Colossal Bronson Reed. So, of course, all three of these guys have been having their issues with each other, and really, it's definitely like Sammy versus his Chad and Bronson, so kind of like the linking Bronson and Chad together in a way, leading to this triple threat match. So kind of two stories colliding, but one of the big things here, besides all the fun action, this match definitely was a lot of fun. But the other story is, where does Otis's allegiances lie? So, at first Chad Gable came out who came out for the match. He came out with Otis and Maxine Dupree, but sent Maxine to the back, said, "Hey, nope, you get out." Also just came down with Otis. In hindsight, maybe Chad sent the wrong person to the back, but yeah, so Chad had telling Otis, stick to the plan and stick to the plan and do pretty much as I tell you when the time is right. So what was that spot? We'll find out. But in the meantime, there's some fun action. Like all three of these guys, Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, and Bronson Reed, are definitely fun to watch, but and putting them together was a lot of fun as well, including Chad pretty much suplexing two guys. Now, granted, he mainly just suplexed Bronson, and Bronson more so held on to Sammy. But still really impressive. If Chad Gable, man, Chad Gable's so underrated. Like with his like small stature and everything, you almost forget how strong he is. It's I kind of feel the same with like Ricochet, but especially Chad Gable. And it's also worth mentioning Chad Gable getting the "You Suck" chant, and so between that and the Perk Angle memes, Chad becoming the new Kurt Angle is kind of coming into play. Except it's a lot more welcome than when WWE tried it with Gable Steveson. But nevertheless, Chad Gable. Chad Gable, and all three guys did their part, but yeah, Chad Gable with that suplex, that was really awesome to see. Bronson Reed doing a tope suicida through the ropes, even more incredible to see. Man, Bronson Reed, that's always one of my favorite things in wrestling is like big guys doing very much small guy stuff, and Bronson Reed definitely no shortage of that. But in the end, Chad Gable telling Otis, now's the time. I'm wanting Otis to pretty much nail Sami Zayn while Chad held him. Otis looking conflicted before Chad slapping Otis, getting him back into it. So Otis went for the clothesline, but accidentally nailed Gable, allowing Sami to get back in the ring and nailed the hula kick on Bronson Reed, who was taken out earlier by Otis, but Sami got him back in the ring to retain. So and Otis's face after he realizes what happened is hilarious. But even more hilarious is as Sami celebrating Chad just with like the cold and angry stare at Otis afterwards. That is meme material. That needs to be the next wrestling meme, that image right there, because that is hilarious. But obviously, continuing the story with Chad Gable and Otis is leading to that eventual split from Otis and and I guess the rest of Alpha Academy, because Chad pretty much dressed them all down and everything, pretty much called them a bunch of losers and stuff like that. But especially Otis. So we'll see how the story continues to evolve from here, because it absolutely is. But in the meantime, Sami is still Intercontinental Champion, So some fun action for this story, and just a lot of fun. But next up, in the finals of the Queen of the Ring, and for a shot at the championship of the brand, and at SummerSlam, either the Women's World Championship for Raw or the Women's Championship for SmackDown. Nia Jax went up against Lyra Valkyria. So some pretty solid action between the two. The story being Lyra trying to find creative ways to avoid Nia Jax and to work around the size and power disadvantage that she has against Nia Jax, up until Nia Jax pretty much flattens her with the bonsai draw, as Lyra was looking for a powerbomb. Nia Jax just is sitting right on top of her, straight up Yokozuna style, pretty much crushing her and getting the win. It did look like a scary spot. Hopefully Lyra is okay. Hopefully Lyra is okay, and hopefully it was just like selling, but it did look it did look pretty scary. And kind of a cool thing, Triple H coming in and handing the crown to the respective winners, not just the Queen of the Ring, but King of the Ring, which we'll get to in just a bit. But Queen Nia, so she will be facing Bailey at SummerSlam. So how that unfold, we'll find out. But also congrats to Nia on winning Queen of the Ring. She's definitely earned it, and it's cool that she's getting a decent little push there. But then next up, it's the men's turn for the King of the Ring. Gunther seeks to battle Randy Orton, and Randy Orton definitely taking his time, definitely milking his entrance, which definitely doing his best Undertaker impression with the milking of the entrance. But considering we might not have much longer with Randy Orton, at least in ring, and you know what, take all the time that you need, Randy. But I know as this was a solid match as well, a solid encounter between the two, who really showing the best of both men, but this match had, if my camera would focus, thank you. This match not without its controversy, because towards the end, Randy nailed the RKO. Well, kind of slow for the cover, couldn't quite put all the pressure in to get the pin, and that was also the story there. Is Randy so banged up, and people commending him for selling of like his knee and his back and everything. The knee was hurt in the match, but and obviously like the history of the back issues and everything, and people commending him for his selling. I don't know how much of that is selling or how much of that is legit. Now Randy has said like this is the best he's felt since his 20s. That was apparently his exact words, but you can tell definitely starting to get to him. But age catches up to us all, but especially with Randy, he like the history of the back issues. There was a reason he was out for over a year, because like those back issues, especially stemming from like the most iconic move in his arsenal, that being the RKO and everything. But nevertheless, Gunther exploiting that, doing his thing. But back to that controversy. So Gunther nailing Randy in kind of a roll-up pin. Randy's shoulder way off the mat. There was a whole lot of daylight. Forget a piece of paper. You could fit a whole person under the distance between Randy's shoulder and the mat. And they actually addressed it. So I guess as it was probably part of a storyline, or it might have been a botch, but turned into a storyline. Triple H pretty much saying that we'll probably get Gunther versus Randy Orton again, but Gunther is the winner and is King of the Ring. Didn't even put the crown on afterwards. Yeah, so Gunther picking up the win. And when it comes to picks for Queen and King of the Ring, obviously the Queen of the Ring being Nia Jackson and King of the Ring being Gunther, some pretty solid picks, I would say. Some pretty solid choice. Like everybody in the tournament, there was a few people you could argue who would make really good Kings / Queens of the Ring, but especially how they're being pushed and booked at this point in time versus plus how much people like them. I would say Gunther and Nia Jax being your King and Queen of the Ring respectively. He is a pretty solid choice. Hey, so congrats to Gunther on King of the Ring, congrats to Nia Jax on Queen of the Ring, and because Gunther won here, he will be challenging the World Heavyweight Champion at SummerSlam. And who's it going to be? Well, it's probably not going to be Damian Priest, because it was officially announced on the card itself, on King and Queen of the Ring itself, both by Triple H, that Damian Priest will be defending his World Championship against Drew McIntyre at Clash of the Castle, which, yeah, I remind you, is going to be in Glasgow, Scotland. Damien, you might as well kiss that championship goodbye. But it is pretty cool that they're going to give Drew McIntyre his moment. And admittedly, in hindsight, waiting till they were in Scotland versus the inaugural Clash of the Castle event a couple years ago, where they were in Cardiff, Wales, I think a much better choice to finally give Drew McIntyre that true moment in the sun, that true celebration in front of his home country and everything, and pretty much giving him that major moment. Like he had at WrestleMania, and it was kind of more of like a fake out moment, because obviously CM Punk Punk cost him right after. I mean, technically Drew kind of cost himself, but CM Punk, kind of cost Drew McIntyre as well. But yeah, so Drew who definitely gave him that moment, and the air is cool, yeah. So I imagine, and that means we're gonna get Drew. We're likely gonna get Drew versus Gunther at SummerSlam. Ooh, baby, I am definitely looking forward to that. But last but certainly not least, in your main event for just the Undisputed WWE Championship, not for the U.S. title, as a lot of us had feared, but for just the Undisputed WWE Championship, have the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes is battling the YouTube Nightmare Logan Paul. But one of the main stories is that Logan Paul has decided he's not going to use the brass knuckles in the match, which is perfect because Logan Paul used the brass knuckles in this match. So Logan handed Michael Cole the pair of brass knuckles, saying he won't use them in the match, saying he doesn't need them to beat Cody. Got caught with another pair. Apparently, the storyline and his excuse was being that he was wearing Jake Paul's pants. What? And obviously his brother Jake's pants. Why is he wearing Jake Paul's pants though? But sometimes I've kind of ran out of jeans. But when I ran out of jeans, I didn't borrow my sister's jeans, or even my older brother's jeans. I just had to try to make it work with a different pair of pants. But Logan caught wearing Jake's pants apparently. And if that is the case, if Logan is being legit, which obviously he is, but I'm not even just talking about like in real life. I'm talking about in storyline. But that's legit. Why does Jake Paul just randomly have a pair of brass knucks in his pants, in his pocket, what have you? But nevertheless, so Logan vowed he won't use the brass knucks. So of course in the match he uses the brass knucks. Now, but also worth mentioning, pretty solid effort between the two. Obviously not Logan's first rodeo when it comes to World Championship action. He of course faced Roman Reigns a couple years ago at Crown Jewel, but still he'll definitely look really solid against Cody. Like if anybody he can, and this isn't to take anything away from Logan Paul, he did his part, but if anybody also can help out Logan and still put on a really good match with him, it's definitely Cody. Yeah, so Logan and still pulling out a second pair of brass knuckles. Actually, he got it from his entourage at ringside. So Logan and used the brass knuckles and caught Cody mid-stride, catching him in the stomach, and Michael Cole pretty much laid into him afterwards, talking about how he's a loser and he's a liar, which Logan took some offense to, but Corey Graves stuck up for Michael. Now, it's kind of a weird dynamic with Corey Graves. I'm going to get back to my main point that I was going to make, but hey, it's also kind of a weird dynamic. Corey Graves is kind of supposed to be the heel, but hey, he was also ripping into Liv, who's also kind of a heel. She's more like a tweener, but kind of ripping into her for being like upset and not having the women's championship here, but also standing up for Michael Cole. Well, how nice of you, but yeah. So Logan's still using the brass knucks. Obviously, he wasn't able to put Cody Rhodes away. Cody Rhodes retaining, but the other thing it does kind of like. It would have been cool, well, I think, and maybe this is just me. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree. It would have been cool if they did like a workaround, like for example, something similar they kind of did at AEW although it's, funnily enough, it's kind of the inverse. So MJF, who used the Diamond ring, and who we'll get to him and what's going on with him when we do Double or Nothing tomorrow. But MJF at Full Gear 2022, who vowed he wouldn't use the Diamond ring, but he had the workaround because he was handed the brass knucks by William Regal. Well, I kind of want to see him do something similar to like that, where Logan Paul obviously didn't use the brass knucks, but still cheated to win. Now if Logan went at it clean and lost clean to Cody without shenanigans as well, that would have been something else, and that would have been cool as well. But if you're gonna have like Logan Paul doing like the cheat and everything, why not have him do like a workaround? Like I'm not gonna use the brass knucks, but instead I'm gonna use this other thing because I said I wasn't gonna use the brass knucks. Didn't say I wasn't gonna use this other thing that you use, and whatever that have it, and whatever you have that being. he could have worked it out from there, but having him just instead use the brass knucks, it was it was kind of a weird dynamic in a way. Hey, I'm not upset that he used the brass knucks or anything. It's not that. It's just it was a creative way they could have went about it, but nope. Logan just used the brass knucks. Obviously, it backfires. Cody still picks up the win. But the other thing is that was a really cool camera shot as Logan nailed the frog splash. Excuse me, through the announce table. To put Cody through the table at ringside. Pretty cool camera shot. And I think that was like the drone's perspective where it circled around Logan as he was going for the frog splash. Apparently, Logan saying that spot was a year in the making, that he really wanted to do that spot, and it finally came to fruition. So if that's the case, all the props for that shot did look pretty cool. But Cody did get some help. I forget the guy's name. He did the guest ring announcing, but and he was there at the previous Saudi event, if I'm not mistaken. But him preventing Logan from nailing Cody with the nut hucks and Cody picking up the win from there. So it doesn't make Cody look totally weak, but he having to get the help because Logan got help of his own, but Cody picking up the win there, and yeah, so pretty solid encounter between the two. Like, even though the whole brass knuck situation I wish was handled a little bit differently, maybe I'm alone on that. Let me know what you guys think. But even though I do wish that was handled a bit differently, still really solid match, I would say. But ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. So for my strongest and weakest match of the night, for strongest, I'm probably going to give it to the Intercontinental Championship match. Like, the main event was fun, but the Intercontinental Championship match was also really fun, and a whole lot of fun, on which it is kind of funny, because it's like the third shortest match of the night. I had about 13 minutes, 40 seconds, but that match was a lot of fun. As for the weakest, maybe the Queen of the Ring, but still a good match, just compared to everything else. Didn't quite hit the mark as high, but yeah, so pretty decent show, I would say, for the most part. But nevertheless, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video, so you can see as soon as it drops. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts on King and Queen of the Ring in my review. Did you like King and Queen of the Ring? Did you like my review of King and Queen of the Ring? Let me know. Oh, and of course, Nigel from Labyrinth episode 111 is up. It went up earlier on today, about a few hours ago, at least in terms of recording. Or actually, it's technically not out yet when I'm recording this, but it'll be in he out today. And then this will be out later on tonight. So definitely check this out. And then we're gonna do the same for tomorrow. System Shock Radio will be uploaded earlier on in the day, probably around 8 a.m. or so. Hopefully and Double or Nothing will be up around 8 p.m. tomorrow. So stay tuned for those. But in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace.